Good evening. We will start today's meeting. Kushagra, if you have your presentation, you can start presenting your presentation. You're not audible, but you're visible.
Okay, sir. So now,
Uh,
am I audible?
yes, it is better. You can start presenting.
Okay, sir. So, is my screen visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay. So, yes, sir. Okay. So, I'm starting. Okay. Good evening, everyone. So, today, the topic for my project is understanding descriptive diagnostic, predictive, and prescriptive models. And the task assigned to me is predictive modeling. So, as you can see, the contents of my presentation here are a task description, literature review, result and analysis, demo, conclusion, and finally, time for any questions. And first, coming on to the task description. So, initially in the task, what we have to do here is we have to build a predictive model. We have been given a data set, and we have to use that data set to predict a particular variable that is available there. And that variable name is math score. So we have to predict the math score of the students based on the previous data that has been allotted to us. And we have to use supervised learning algorithms here so that we can, use them for the predictive task. And we have to use the appropriate metrics so that we can evaluate the model without any bias. And then we have to perform the feature selection here so that we can get the appropriate and relevant features that are contributing to the model prediction. Then coming on to the literature review. So predictive modeling predictive modeling is the process of using the historical data that is available to us, and using that data and the statistical techniques that are available, we have to make predictions about the future outcomes of the uh, you know the model or the data that is available. So it is basically a very powerful tool that helps us in organizing the insights that are there, and we can make the informed decision and improve upon the business or any other task that is given to us. Then we can also analyze the patterns that are there and the relationship that is already available between the data, and we can use the predictive modeling you know, to get an insight into the trends that are available there. So we can also use to know get the you know the trends that are available, and we can also detect the anomalies or outliers or any discrepancy that is available in the data, so that we can prevent any further harm that can be there due to these discrepancies. Then we can also find application across various fields in this predictive modeling, like healthcare, marketing, or stock prediction, and many more fields. And we can also, use predictive modeling to gain a competitive advantage over, others. So then, what are the objectives for predictive modeling? So objectives, I've only listed six objectives, but there are many more there. So, like forecasting future trends, we can, predictive modeling allows us to forecast the make accurate predictions regarding the future trends that are available there. But for that, we have to get the historical data about those variables, and we can also identify the influencing factors. Like a particular case has happened and it is influenced by a certain factor. So by using predictive modeling or using feature selection, we can get the important factors that are influencing that particular task or particular variable there. Then we can also optimize the decision making. So like, if we make the predictive models, it can help us in making the optimal decisions, since we are already predicting something in the future, so using the historical data, so we can get an insight into what should be done currently, so that we have a better result in the future. Then we can also anticipate the customer behavior. Many marketing companies and many companies that uh, focus on the customers, they usually use these predictive models so that they can anticipate the customers, the behavior of customers using the past data that is available. And the future that the customers might prefer based on the available data, or the based on the features or new trends that are actually happening current. So we can also detect the fraud and anomalies that are available. As mentioned, predictive modeling helps in detecting these anomalies, outliers, or suspicious activities. Like if there are fraud cases or fraud activities or fraudulent services carried uh, using the data, so we can using the data we can get an insight into those fraudulent activities, and we can predict in the future that this fraudulent activity is currently happening or not. Currently many credit card companies are also using these features, these predictive modeling, to identify whether like a credit card transaction that has occurred is fraudulent or not. So we can utilize we can use these examples to gain insight as to how these predictive modeling is benefiting us. Then we can also risk assessment and mitigation also. So like we can, through predictive modeling, organizations can assess and mitigate the risk by developing proactive strategies that are available to help in the future, like landslide detection or many other features. So then this is the current process overview of the predictive modeling. As you can see, the first step is understanding the business that is available there, uh, like what the business is and what we are predicting is. We have to know about it. It's like we have to get a good domain knowledge about it, so that we can get onto the task and gain much valuable insight rather than only seeing the numbers. It's like having a qualitative view overview about the task is very important. Then we have to define the goals for the model, like if we are building a predictive model, then what are the goals for the model, how much are we required to you know get the insights, or how much accuracy are we aiming for. And the third step is getting the data for the model, like whatever data is available regarding the particular business and the model goals that we have, we can use those to get the data from various sources that are available. Then we have to prepare the data. Data preparation is very important, like exploratory data analysis and data pre-processing. Those steps are quite important so as to clean the data. If we feed impure or unclean data into the model, then a model will give us less accurate results, and this will again we will be trapped in a loop. Then again we have to go to preparing the data again, and then again feeding it into the model. So then we can segregate the data. We can also process the data, like this is the training data, this is the test data. We can segregate, we can include important features, we can remove the unimportant features. Then we have to select an appropriate model regarding the insights that we have gained using the data, or we can select multiple models and use a cross folding technique to get an insight which model is better. How we can use bagging and boosting algorithms that uses multiple models together so as to gain a average score out of those models. It somehow increases the average accuracy of the task. Then we can train and validate the model. Training the model on the trained data is like running the model, running the machine learning algorithm, and then we can check on the test data to get a better know about the accuracy on of the model on the unseen data that is going to be fed in the future. Then we can optimize the model based on the validation accuracy that we have acquired, and then we can easily deploy the model. So a couple of real life examples that can be provided here are, like we can improve the customer retention that was mentioned there. We can analyze the customer data and behavior and use the predictive modeling that has already been modeled on the data that has been available by the customers, on the historical data of the customers, and we can use those models so that uh, we can get an insight as to what the customers are currently wanting from the company, or where they will tend to move forward based on certain factors like the trends or the influencing variables that are available in the data. One example can be like a particular company. They can use those predictive models like to identify those customers that are at the risk of churning. So churning basically means turning back, turning over or leaving the company. So basically, those customers that are at the risk of churning in their subscription, so we can analyze those customers' behavior, and we can deploy a model and analyze what those customers will be, or we can predict those customers, and we can develop a particular strategy so as to uh, such as targeted offers or proactive customer support, like we can target those customers and prevent them from churning actually. So it can result in a much better reduction in the churning rate, and customer loyalty can also be increased. Then there is improved healthcare. So basically, healthcare is quite important. So predictive modeling can be used to improve the healthcare services that are already available. We can use the healthcare data that is available, and we can analyze the patient data, identify the factors that are affecting those patients, and we can influence the health outcomes that are available, and we can proactively uh, prevent the patients from any further harm, or we can give them an early medical treatment based on the data that is available. So an example can be like a particular hospital just use this predictive modeling and on a patient data to improve the healthcare outcomes, like medical history, clinical data that they have, and they also like historical data or any biological genetic data, that is any genetic disease that can be traversed through their family, and we can use those data that is available by those patients, so that we can identify the patients that are at the risk of readmission, or at the risk of falling into those diseases, or so we can prevent the complications that can occur in the future. We can also use this predictive modeling on the patients that are currently admitted in that hospital, so as to uh, prevent those patients from further like remission into that particular disease or not. So this can be helped by early interventions and predictive modeling. So as you can see in the image, the patients are like there's a healthcare data, and we have used that healthcare data in the predictive modeling, and that predictive modeling can give us a forecast or a brief, uh, preview as to what the patients might face in the coming future. So that is that. Then about our data, the data that is available currently, we have used the data set that is available at Kaggle, student performance in exam. This data set basically contains 8 columns and 1,000 rows. So five of these columns are categorical in nature. Categorical basically means, they have objects as, in the objects as values in the rows. And as you can see, the five categorical variables: gender, race, parental level of education, lunch, and the test preparation course that they're currently taking. Then we have three numerical columns that are available. These are the three scores that they are, gaining from attending particular classes. Those three scores are math score, reading score, and writing score. So in this task, what we have to do, we have to predict the math score that is available for each of the students. So we will use this data about the remaining 7 columns about gender, race, parental, lunch, test preparation course, reading and writing score, and use these 7 columns to predict what the math score will be there. So this is a brief overview of the table, and this is the relationship that is available between those three numerical columns that are there. Those three numerical columns are math, reading, and writing score. As you can see, the reading score and writing score, they are highly correlated. Their correlation coefficient is quite high. Some of them, like math score and reading score, has a correlation coefficient of zero 0.8, and writing score and reading score has a correlation coefficient of 0.955. So this high correlation coefficient indicates towards the linear relationship between the numerical columns. that are available there. So, like we can gain an insight that if a student has a high reading and writing score, then they might also have a high math score. Indicating a student's, perform well in almost every subject. If it's a good student or if it's a bad student, they perform, average or poor in almost every subject. There are outliers, like they are particularly good in particular subject, but most of the cases indicate that the three numerical factors are, highly correlated and they go hand in hand. So this is one of the insight that we can gain from this. And we have also performed outlier detection here. Using the outlier detection, we calculated the standardized values that are there, standardized values of the each numerical column, and from the deviation that is present there from the mean, we can identify those outliers by setting a particular threshold. So using the interquartile range, we have set the threshold, and as you can see, the outliers are quite low in number when compared to the 1,000 field values that are present. So we can, uh, kind of ignore those outliers also, as we have in the future we will be using the algorithms that are already uh, prone to the outliers. Then how to deal with the categorical variables? To deal with the categorical variables, I have listed two methods here. Uh, like in predictive modeling, we have to, appropriately handle them so that we can use those variables as an input. So we have to convert them into numerical features. So one hot encoding, basically it creates binary variables here for each category within the categorical variable column. Uh, so it assigns a value 1 if that particular observation belongs to that column, and it assigns a value 0 otherwise. And this method can, work well if the categorical variables have a small number of distinct categories, like in our example. But if the cardinality is high for the distinct variables, then it can lead to a large number of dummy variables that will split into multiple columns, and that will somehow, lead to a high dimensionality case. So we have to avoid, if that's the case, we can look into other algorithms. Then there is label encoding. It basically assigns a unique numerical value to each of these uh, categorical objects, and it's basically used when there is a particular, ordering or particular order in the categorical variables. So we can use those label encoding at that time. But in our case, as you can see, there is no particular order, there is no inherent ordering there, so we have, avoided using label encoding and gone with one hot encoding dummy variables. as you can see as you can see here, like gender is split into two columns: gender female and gender male. Female, if the particular field has female, then the female will be 1 and male will be 0. Similarly, test preparation also split into two columns, and race was split into 5 columns, and there were 5 distinct categorical variables values there. So as you can see, it gives us a valuable numerical representation here. Then we can go on to the models that are used here. So random forest is basically, random forest I have used in regression. It's basically involves predicting the continuous numerical variables, and it's basically an ensemble method that uses multiple decision trees. And using those decision trees, it's using the bagging concept. Like the output that we gain from those multiple decision trees, it's uh, put into a majority voting, and then we can get the final class or final output out of that. So it's the bagging algorithm that's in work here. So it overcomes the limitation of those individual decision trees by using the multiple decision trees here. So that's that. And the algorithm also, consists. It's called random forest because there are multiple decision trees, and they, are backed together to form a sort of forest there. And the during the training, each of the trees remain independent. Like what happens in boosting, where each of the trees, influence the other by passing on the error of one tree to the other. In bagging, each of these algorithms are independent, but they are put into a majority voting class. The output of each of the trees are put there, and we can get the final prediction after averaging or taking the majority vote in that case. Uh, Random forest basically helps us in handling the non-linearity that is available in the regression task here. So that's why I have checked on using a random forest at there, as we have a higher number of variables, and we can also check on the non-linear cases that are available there. So by using random forest, I have uh, quite taken into account the non-linear relationships that will be formed or that are already present in the variables. So also random forest is robust to outliers. As you have seen, I have not removed the outliers previously. So, but since random forest is robust here, so we can quite be assured about it. And it's also, gives us an idea about the feature importance that is there for each of the column that we are feeding in random forest. So we can rest assured that the feature importance we will be gaining from this, so that we can get an idea what features are contributing to the final task. Then we have the lasso regression. Lasso regression basically stands for the least absolute shrinkage and selection operation regression. So lasso regression is basically similar to the linear regression, like ordinary sum of squares, that is sum of squares that is available there. But lasso regression incorporates L1 norm as a penalty factor. So it's also known as L1 regularization term. So it's basically a linear regression technique, but it incorporates the this regularization term so that we can prevent the overfitting from happening. Since the overfitting has been prevented by incorporated regularization term, we can rest assured that the model also includes variables that are drawn towards the sparsity. So since overfitting is prevented, we can rest assured here on that point. L1 norm acts as a penalty so that not every variable gets to act as important. It also encourages the sparsity that is available in the features. Sparsity as in this L1 norm that we have added and a regularization parameter that we have added. So that regularization parameter is called lambda. We use that lambda to punish the terms that are punish the variables that are not at all related to the regression task that we are performing. So using this lasso regression, we can convert those terms, or we can turn those uh, terms towards zero. So by using that, we can include sparsity, and we can kind of ignore those variables that are available there. So as you can see, larger lambda implies more sparsity, as we will be punishing more variables and more harshly we will be punishing there. So that is that. Then we have XGBoost. XGBoost stands for extreme gradient boosting. It's a powerful and popular technique that is being used for classification and regression tasks here, and it basically works on gradient boosting. So what is gradient boosting? Gradient boosting is an also an ensemble technique, but it's work on the boosting concept, where multiple weak models are present there, but each of them are connected, like a recurrent network, and they are connected into a stronger and more accurate predictive model. So we train new models iteratively, and we correct the mistakes that have happened in the previous model. As you can see in the diagram, the previous model is trained, and it is passing on the mistakes that has happened in the previous models to the next model, and subsequently those next models will pass on to the other models, and this is how the boosting algorithm works and gradient boosting works. So XGBoost basically improves upon this boosting technique by incorporating additional features that are available, like regularization. So regularization again, as we have seen from the previous slide, it helps us in incorporating the penalty term and prevents overfitting. It also handles the missing data XGBoost. So although our data does not contain any missing values, it still helps us in that part. It's also uh, XGBoost also has a built-in cross-validation technique there. So it again helps us in that part. And there is also robust to outlier. So again we can be quite assured that we don't have to worry about outliers there. Then the feature importance for our case, the feature importance, as you can see, this is the feature importance for the random forest case. I have used the random forest technique and gain the feature importance that is available there. So as you can see, reading score and writing score that are highly linearly available related to the math score, they are quite important. And the rest of the features have quite a low feature importance score, so we can kind of ignore them if we are considering the random forest case. But then again, I have also used the lasso regression to gain the feature importance, and we can see some of the features that were not present in the case of random forest are there in the case of lasso regression. This again indicates that lasso regression is, a form of linear regression with an included penalty term. So it can better, capture the linearity of the linear relationship between the variables. So then again, these are the results of the task here. I have used four matrices: mean absolute error, mean squared error, root mean squared error, and R2 score. R2 score basically, implies the correctedness of the regression models. A higher R2 score implies a higher correctedness. It's basically lies between 0 and 1, so that's why those are quite low there. But as you can see, all four models are there. But as you can see, I have trained four models. The first three models I have explained, but the fourth model is again random forest, but I have added this with PCA. So PCA is principal component analysis. I have reduced the number of dimensions that we have acquired there and again use it to train the random forest model. But random forest failed to gain a better accuracy this time because certain factors can be, lead to that. They might include, less information from dimension reduction or, overfitting on the training data. So as an analysis that was conducted from those errors, we can see that the lasso has the least amount of error for each of the tasks. The red represent the lasso regression. So you can see the lasso has the least amount of error. We can also attribute it to the linear relationship that they have captured there and also the high correlation between the variables. Then the difference between the model is not high. You can see the error, mean square error might be high, but the mean absolute error and R2 score are quite equal. So we can say that all four models are not that much of a difference there. And PCA does not improve the accuracy at all. As we have seen, the error only increased here. So we can say that. And it also, we can see here, I have mentioned the training and test error for the PCA model. As you can see, the error is the difference is quite high. So this indicates the low bias and high variance problem. So we can conclude that the test error is quite high. So the model is overfitting in case of PCA. Another conclusion can be drawn that the PCA is, also resulting in reduced information, although that might not be the case. We can only speculate it at this moment. Then I can move on to the demo here. As you can see here, I have imported the data set from the Kaggle here. I have downloaded the data set from the Kaggle and I have imported the necessary libraries. I have used the pandas data frame, and using the pandas data frame, this is the standard, an overview about the data. Then I have used the describe function here. The describe function basically works to give us a brief overview about the numerical variables. So as you can see, the numerical variables, math score, reading score, and writing score, each of them have a full count. None of the nil variables are there. So this means there is no missing data, and we can get a brief statistical overview here. Then I've also counted, double check the null variables, but none of them are present here. Then this is the correlation that I've tried to check, and as you can see, the correlation is quite high, 0.8 to 0.8, and you can see from the lower variables also here in the plotter. I've plotted the correlation here also in the form of scatter matrix. As you can see, correlation is quite high. Then I have performed the outlier detection that is there. The a box plot for each of them are present. But as you can see, uh, since the outliers are quite low in number here, so I have chosen to ignore the outliers that are there. Then I have dealt with the categorical variables that are there. Those categorical variables are converted into one hot encoding or the dummies, as I've explained in the presentation. Since there is no inherent ordering, so I have ignored the label encoding. Then I have sort of train test splitted the data here. The data has been train test splitted, and 20% has been assigned to testing data, and 80% has been assigned to train the model. Then I have used the feature importance for random forest, as I have already shown in the presentation. The random forest here is quite, giving us the features here that are important according to the random forest model. Then I have used the random forest and XGBoost to train the model. As you can see, the model has been trained here, and the error has been presented here. So as you can see, the mean absolute error and the other errors are there, and similar for the XGBoost regression also, the mean absolute error and the other absolute errors are present here. Then I have performed the cross validation for lasso. Now, one thing that is important here is lasso includes a regularization parameter here. So regularization parameter that I have mentioned in the presentation at that moment. So we have to get to know what is the accurate value for that optimization parameter. So I have used the cross validation technique here, and that cross validation technique will give us the optimal value here. And as you can see, various optimal values were used here, and the most appropriate value has come out to be 0.12. So this is that, and then we have used this optimal parameter to train the lasso model also. The lasso model gave us the error as mentioned, and we have computed the feature importance here again for the lasso model. As you have seen, it has captured the linearity in the variables, so we are gaining another few of the variables that can be related to the math score. Then we have compared those three models here, and as you can see, lasso is performing well. Then I have performed PCA, and PCA, after performing the PCA, I have again used the technique, elbow technique, that is been used to determine how many components I should convert them to. Actually, a dimension contains 19 variables after splitting the categorical variables. So now I have to reduce the dimension. So using the elbow technique, I have calculated the variance that are spreaded there, and after gaining the knowledge that after converting to 13 uh, components, after reducing the dimension to 13, I cannot gain any much more variance spread from that data. So I have used the n is equal to 13 component, 13 dimension. From 19 to 13 I have converted, and then again transformed, put that data into another model for random forest, and again I have compared uh, those four models again, but the data is quite unsatisfactory. The result is unsatisfactory, as PCA is not performing as well as we have thought so. So as you can see here, so again coming back to the presentation. Then coming to the conclusion here, so we aim to predict the math score from the given variables. So the data set contains 5 categorical and 3 numerical variables. We have converted the categorical into dummy variables. Data set is clean as shown. Outliers are quite few, and missing data is not at all available there. The feature importance we have also performed and got to know important features from both lasso regression and random forest. Uh, but we will prefer the lasso regression at as they can capture the high correlation that was present there. So those features are reading score, writing score, and gender female. And using the we use random forest, XGBoost, and lasso regression for predicting the model. And the lasso proved to be the best among those models. Again, due to the concept that it captures linear relationship. And we also performed dimension reduction here, but it proves to be quite unsatisfactory. So we can attribute it to the loss in information and overfitting nature of the models here. Then any questions, you can contact me at this email ID. These are the references that I've used to, complete the whole task. And thank you for the patience to listen to me.
Kushagra, the presentation itself was nice. Uh, the main thing is you have done the overall coding part and the explanation part around the coding part well, but I want you to see there are some areas where you could have explained a lot clearer. So you were using more technical terms, which needs to be used. That is a good thing from your side. But sometimes you need to give a little examples at the same by using simpler terms for the technical terms. So this is as a presentation needs to be a clear flow of your task. So let me give you an example of what I'm saying. So there was this scatter and density plot
Yes, sir.
that you were showing. Yes. So in that you were using some technical terms. While explaining those technical terms, while talking about those terms, you had to explain what the scatter plot chart was more about in the sense to the down to the minute details, so that the reader can more easily understand what is in the plot. So you explained the why you were using the plot. You explained that, but I needed you to explain the plot as well, how to read the plot.
Okay,
Just a small 10-second. I think it will take you to make someone understand how to read that plot. What do you mean by these scattered plots and density plots? Okay, you gave us the answer why you use it, but I wanted the process, a small 10-second process. Okay, that is fine. And there were slides where you could have used small keywords instead of the whole sentences. So you had everything in your mind already. You were not reading it off the slide, so that information could not be there. Instead of that, small keywords could be there. They will aid you because at the end of the day, I want to hear you speaking about those things instead of reading it on the slides. Okay, because then it will create a impression that you know what you're talking about in these slides instead of those things written on the slide itself. Uh, other than this, I don't think there was any problem. These are the small things that you need to improve on. Okay. At the same time, try to not be monotonous. Sometimes things become very monotonous while you are explaining. Okay. So try to or modulate your voice a little bit. In the sense there was this, so we got the result. There's need to be a little modulation in those parts. Uh, yeah, nothing else is there. Thank you for the presentation,
okay,
Kushagra.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Varada, you can
Yeah,
start your
so am I
presentation.
audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
So is my
Okay.
video visible?
Yes, it is visible now. You can start your presentation.
Yeah, basically, so today is my first task. This task is about designing data science solutions on Azure for a stock market investing business. The name of my task is Internship Curriculum. So these are all the contents that I have added in this PPT. First, I'll be giving introduction to all Azure data science solutions, then the data acquisition and preparation, data analysis, deployment and visualization, the real world project, and what the presentation and feedback, how it should be taken. So basically, starting with it, what is cloud computing? Cloud computing is basically managing storage process of data. So basically, it is like delivering various services like which include server storage, databases, networking, software analytics, etc. So it helps us to give faster output And it is also helps us in giving flexible resources as well. Now, when we go further, there are three types of cloud computing, mainly public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud. So in the public cloud, it is basically owned and operated by a third party. And the services are provided by the third party. They deliver sources such as servers and storages, etc. Now, the Microsoft Azure is an example of it. In the private cloud, it basically uh, refers to the refers exclusively to a single business or organization. It can be located on a particular company's data center. Hybrid cloud is basically a combination of public as well as private cloud. Now talking about Azure. Azure is a comprehensive cloud computing platform basically provided by Microsoft. It offers us various services. Basically, it focuses on building and deployment of a project. It helps in management of the applications, and it provides basically a flexible infrastructure and enables the businesses to leverage the power of cloud to meet the computing and storage needs. Now, what is data science and how data science is used in the stock market? So basically, data science involves statistics and mathematics. Data science completely depends upon numbers. Now, it can be anything. We can relate data science to anything, like how many customers are buying a particular product or how much that product is being sold. So data science is basically, it uses maths, and how it is used in stocks is that to buy a particular stock, we need to know the history of it. We predict how we will get maximum profit from it. And in this way, data science comes into the picture where it deals with the numbers. So what is done is the data that it has to be first analyzed, and then it has to be fitted into a model. This helps us to predict the future stock prices that will occur, so that will help us to maximize the profit that we will get out of it. After that, what we can do is that we can create a probabilistic graphical model, which would give us which we will be making with the help of machine learning. So what it will do is it will tell us, with the help of the past all the stocks and past history of that particular stock, how we should buy a particular stock, when we should buy it, and how much profit that it will give us. Now, Azure machine learning is basically helping in building and deployment of the models faster. And the Azure Machine Learning Studio is a workspace where we create, build, and train the machine learning models. As we can see, features of the Azure Machine Learning Studio is that it is fully integrated with Python and RSDIS. It has an updated drag and drop, supports ML pipelines where we can build flexible and modular pipelines to automate workflows. It supports multiple model formats depending upon the job type. It has automated model training and hyperparameter tuning with code first and no code options as well. It supports data labeling projects as well. Now we'll be moving on to data acquisition and preparation. So Azure Data Factory and the Azure Event Hubs are both powerful services provided by Microsoft Azure. So in order that Microsoft Azure can be used, we have to acquire the data from various sources. So how will we use them? There are few steps that we first create an Azure Event Hub, configure the Event Hub settings, create an Azure Data Factory, and then create a pipeline. Further steps are configure the source data store, configure the destination data store, set up Event Hubs as an intermediary, schedule and execute the pipeline, monitor and manage the pipeline. So I'll just tell you what all these steps mean is that first we will be creating an Azure Event Hub. It is basically like a scalable event streaming platform which can handle high throughput of events. Now, after that, after we have done this, what we can do is we can set up the necessary configuration that is required. After we have done that, we will create a Azure data factory as mentioned here. So what it will do is that the Azure data factory is basically a cloud-based data integration service, and it will allow us to create like data-driven workflows. So after we have done that, we will create a pipeline. So this pipeline helps us in acquiring data from all the workforces that we have created before. As we go further, we will configure the source data store to read data from the Azure data factory. Then it will support a wide range of sources that we have gotten our data from. And after that, after we have we will further configure the destination data store as well. And after all this is done, we use the Azure Event Hub again. We will use the Azure Event Hub such that we will use it as an intermediary for the data acquisition as well. Then we will set up a schedule. And after that, the Azure Data Factory would provide monitoring and managing capabilities, etc. So basically, in short, I've explained what these do. There is a very long process which we go through this. Further, we'll be going into cleaning and preparing data using Azure Databricks and Synapse Analytics. So in this, Azure Databricks and Azure Synapse Analytics are powerful services provided by Microsoft Azure. They are used for cleaning and preparing data, which is very important. So the steps how we can use them together is, first we'll have to set up Azure Synapse Analytics, configure the data ingestion, connect the Azure Databricks, import the data into Azure Databricks, perform all the data cleaning and preparation process. Then we will execute all the data transformations that are required according to our need. Then we will apply all the machine learning and data processing algorithms. So while making the model, all these conditions are taken into consideration. Then we will export the clean data to Azure Synapse Analytics. We will perform the analytics and reporting, and further, we would monitor and optimize and solve all the errors that also happen there. Moving on to the data analysis and modeling. We will start by introducing statistical and machine learning models. Now, statistical and machine learning models are basically power tools used in data analysis and prediction tasks. Like we talked about the probabilistic graphical models. They are basically used so that they can sense a pattern, a trend, a relationship between two entities, whatever they are, and then they help us to make a proper decision, make proper predictions, which would give us maximum profit out of all of this. They basically help us in knowing the relationship and how we can get help in predicting the future from the past data. Now there are several types of statistical and machine learning models, each suited for different problems and data. Some commonly used models include linear regression, logistic regression, decision trees, random forest, support vector machines, neural networks, etc. So neural networks, etc. are also the concepts that are taken from deep learning, which help us in how the data should be trained, tested, etc. Now we'll move on to building models using Azure Machine Learning Studio and Databricks. So basically, these are the two powerful platforms which would give us in building and deploying model. Now we have to study in deep how we can use each model and how we can deploy it. So learning about Azure Machine Learning Studio, it is basically a drag and drop interface which would allow you to build machine learning models without writing the code. So even if you don't have that much knowledge about the code, you are able to use this. It provides a visual interface where you can create and connect different modules to construct a machine learning pipeline. Databricks. Databricks is a unified analytics platform built on Apache Spark, which provides basically a collaborative environment for big data processing and machine learning. With Databricks, we can leverage the power of distributed computing to process large data sets and train complex machine learning models. Now, Databricks is not limited to a particular language. It supports all the multiple programming languages like Python, R, anything. So you can write your code in any language. You can develop it into a machine learning model as you need it. And it also uses various libraries as mentioned here, such as scikit-learn, TensorFlow, PyTorch, etc. Now that we have trained our model, now we can deploy it. Now, deploying it, we can integrate it with other systems or using Databricks as an option, such as REST APIs or model serving frameworks. Now, the Azure Machine Learning Studio also provides us a visual interface for building models with minimal coding, as mentioned here. In Databricks, we require coding knowledge and we can code it in any language. But in Azure Machine Learning Studio, it is just a visual interface and we do not require that much knowledge of coding here. Moving on, now model evaluation and validation technique. Now, model evaluation and validation techniques are essential to assess the performance and generalization capability of machine learning models. These techniques actually help us understand how well our model is performing and whether we are able to make particular predictions or not. Like if we are using data science in stock market, we need to have that much accuracy, and this accuracy can be given to us with the help of all. These can be tested, validated with the help of all of these methods like train, test, split, cross validation, evaluation metrics, holdout validating, and bootstrapping. Now in the train, test, split, to in short explain it, it is basically we take the available data set that we have, we split it into two parts, the training test and the test set. Now the model is trained on the training set and then evaluated in the test set, so that it is first trained and then it is tested. Now the test set serves as a proxy for all the unseen data, allowing us to assess how well our model is working and how accurate our predictions are being made. Now in the cross validation, we here again estimate the model performance. In this, we again split our data into multiple subsets. Like in train test, we were just splitting it into two, but here we split it into multiple sets. And then further, the most common cross-validation technique we use is the K-fold cross-validation technique, etc. Then basically it tells us that we divide the data into K number of subsets, and further the model is trained and tested upon that. And similarly, all the other techniques that are mentioned here are used for model evaluation and validation, which helps us tell how much more accurate the model needs to be, or it actually is, and how well the predictions are being made. Now, the deployment and visualization. Now, deploying models to Azure App Service and API management. Deploying the ML models to Azure App Service and API management basically helps us to expose our models as web services and make them available to all the users. Now, talking about the Azure App Service, it is basically a fully managed platform for building and deploying, as we've talked. Now, in this, we scale the web applications. Now, once our web application is ready, we can deploy it to the Azure App Service using the Azure portal, CLI, or DevOps. Here, moving on to the management, the Azure API management is basically a platform in which helps us create all the API securely and at a good scale. To deploy a ML model to API management, we need to expose our model as a RESTful API, as we have discussed earlier as well. Now, if we want to deploy a model API to a web server or Azure function, then we publish it to the API management. Azure API management provides us with a lot of functions like authentication, rate limiting, caching, analytics, control and monitor access to your model API, etc. Now moving on to creating dashboards and reports using Azure Power BI. So Azure Power BI is a powerful business intelligence platform. So what data visualization is important. When we have a large amount of data, we are not able to go through the data easily if it is not shown to us in a more attractive, easier way, which is done by the Azure Power BI. So what it does is it helps us to create a dynamic data visualization method. So we basically take the data, we create a dashboard of it, and this dashboard involves dynamic data, the data which keeps on changing, the data which is updated as per our requirement. So we don't exactly have to again and again update it. We just have to create a dashboard, and then further it creates this process on its own. Now, how we can create dashboard and reports using Azure Power BI? The steps are data preparation, creating dashboards, as I said, building reports, collaboration and sharing, and refreshing data. So we don't always have to add data. We just have to keep on refreshing it as it is a dynamic tool. Now in the real world project, what all is required in the real world project? Real world project related to stock market investing is a very valuable application. It can give us a lot of profits. And basically what we during the internship, the skills that we gain, that we will gain is basically first what we have to do is what our problems and objectives are. We have to research on that, whatever problems that are faced before. Then data collection and preparation, properly collecting all the required data that is necessary for the prediction of stocks, etc. Then exploratory data analysis, whether the data is correct or not. Then the machine learning model development that we've talked about. A strategy that is different from the others, and visualization and reporting. How the data is being visualized is how we can project the data as well. So that is important along with its reporting. Further, what we have to do is that how we will enhance our way is we will like project what our scope and goal is. Then as we have, if we have a team, all the collaboration, communication, use all the resources that are provided by Azure, data acquisition and preparation, model development, training the data, testing the data, tracking the data, model evaluation, testing it again and again, and then finally deploying it. And even after deploying it, not like just ignoring it, we have to keep on monitoring it if there is any problems going on in there. Continuous integration and deployment, documentation and knowledge sharing. In the presentation and feedback, basically actively listening to how what the feedback is, being open to whatever changes are to be made, expressing gratitude, capturing all the feedback, documenting the lessons that I've learned, noting down the mistakes that are made. Thank you.
Okay, so Varada, as it was your first presentation, there needs to be something that needs to be included. It's a mandatory thing, okay? First of all, you need to give a short story explaining the relevance of your project, okay? A short story anywhere in between the slides, it is fine, okay? Uh, Secondly, there needs to be a reference slide at the end, with the format being the, have you seen any address barcodes where the address of a website is slash slash slash,
Yeah.
you're entering into the resource, okay? So that kind of a format needs to be there. And on the last slide itself, you need to put your contact details. Let it be an email or anything else, okay? So people can contact you if they have any problems with the same task. Your camera needs to be your camera needs to be on your face. So half of your face was cut during the presentation. Okay, so that doesn't look good. So your camera needs to be on your face. Your face needs to be in the frame. There were some formatting errors in your presentation that needs to be improved. Okay, so those formatting errors should not come, and the slides itself can be improved. Lastly, there was a lot of information in the slides, and instead of reading the information off of the slides, what you can do is put the information behind the slide somewhere in the Word document or something. You can read it off of it, but keep the key points of those slides into the presentation. So I can read the key points, and while I'm reading key points, you're explaining those key points to me. That looks more professional. Okay. That is all, I think. If there is anything else that I want to put or say, I'll put it in your review of the in the review section of your scores. Okay.
Okay, so I have another task assigned. So should I present it today or tomorrow
You can present it tomorrow. It's fine.
at the same time?
Yeah, at the same time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sivasri, you can start your
Good evening, sir.
presentation. Good evening.
Sir, is my screen is available?
Yes, the screen is visible.
Good evening, sir. Actually, my project name is Hackveda Office Python scripts, and the task assigned to me to develop Hackveda business operation scripts in Python. These are my contents. First, introduction to Hackveda business operation scripts, Google crawler for digital marketing, and Google SMTP for sending emails. Benefits of Hackveda business operation scripts and benefits of web scraping for digital marketing, security audits and compliance, conclusion and references. Uh, First of all, I would like to say the introduction. Today, we will explore the development of Google crawler for digital marketing, sending emails using Google SMTP. Hackveda mainly utilizes Python scripts for various operations. And these scripts are automate tasks and improves efficiency, streamline and business operations. Digital marketing involves in analyzing data from various online sources. A Google crawler can gather valuable information for Google search results. Python offers libraries like web scraping, beautiful soap to facilitate. Web scraping with Beautiful Soap. Beautiful Soap is popular Python library for you by using HTML and XML documents. It simplifies web scraping by providing intuitive methods to extract desired information. Hackveda can use Beautiful Soap to scrap relevant data from Google's crawler. Mainly web scraping with Scrappy. Scrappy is powerful Python framework for web scraping and crawling. Hackveda can
use Scrappy for more complex and scalable web scraping tasks. And email communications is essential for business operation. Google SMT, SMTP means mainly transfer, simple mail transfer protocol, allows sending mails through Google servers. SMTP library module enables sending emails using variable email protocols like including SMTP. Mainly benefits of web scraping for digital marketing is there are three main benefits. Web scraping provides valuable data for digital marketing campaigns, and marketing campaigns means to publish the hack to publish the company or anything. Benefits including competition analysis, market research, lead generation, and content aggregation. Hackveda can leverage web scraping and gain insights and stay ahead in digital marketing landscape. Operations become more streamlined and error free. Error handling and logging. Robust error handling is essential for script reliability. Python scripting is a powerful tool for enhancing Hackveda business operations. Developing a Google crawler and email sending script will improve digital marketing and communication processes. Hackveda can implement exception handling and logging mechanisms in Python scripts. Error logs can assist in debugging and monitoring script performance. Security and best practices. Security considerations are crucial when developing operational scripts. Project sensitive data like email credentials using encryption or environment variables. Security audits and compliance. Regular security audits ensure adherence to industry standards and best practices. Hackveda should review scripts for compliance with regulations like GDPP and CCPA. Engage with security professional of conduct penetration testing for script vulnerability assessment. Some websites require authentication or implement captchas to prevent scrapping. Python libraries like Selenium can be used to interact with websites that require user authentication. Hackveda can utilize techniques like captcha solving services to automate captcha handling. Web scraping often involves extracting or unstruct or messy data. Python provides libraries like pandas for data cleaning and transformation. Hackveda can use these libraries in pre-processes and format scrapped data for analysis. Efficient storage of scrap data is crucial for further analysis. Hackveda use databases like SQL, etc. Alternately, data can be saved in CSV and JSON, etc. Continue learning and adaptability. The technology landscape is constantly evolving. Encourage continue learning and adaptability within Hackveda development team. Stay updated with Python web scraping best practices to maximize script efficiency. Maybe to create a Google crawler, for digital marketing, you need to install packages like Beautiful Soft for requests and LXML like app. Using requests, send a get request to Google search page with the desired query, then pass the HTML content with Beautiful Soap 4 to extract relevant information, manipulate and analyze the data as needed, and store it in the suitable format. Personalized emails have higher engagement rates. Python allows Hackveda to dynamically customize email content based on recipient data, and HTML email templates can be designed and filled with dynamic content using Python string formats. Next, I like to conclude. Python scripting is powerful tool for enhancing Hackveda business operations. Developing a Google crawler email sending scripts will improve digital marketing and communication process. With the right tools and implementation, Hackveda can achieve increased efficiency and productivity. Developing Hackveda business operation scripts in Python empowers digital marketing and communication efforts, promote collaboration among Hackveda developing team. Web scraping and email automation provide valuable insights and enhance efficiency. Developing Hackveda business operation scripts in Python empowers digital marketing and communication efforts. The technology landscape is constantly evolving, encouraging continuous learning and adaptability with Hackveda development team. Stay updated with Python and web scraping best practices to maximize the script efficiency. These are my references. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so is this one of your starting presentations in the sense, have you given presentations before?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there needs to be some changes in the presentation. Firstly, you need to be a little more confident. Okay, because I think you were losing confidence in between. And
Yeah, so you're not audible.
okay, so now am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So I think firstly you need to increase your confidence, because I think you were losing your confidence in between. I don't know what it was, but you were pausing and you were looking. But be confident. You have made the presentation. Don't worry about it. Okay.
Actually,
So
I'm in hostel, so that's why.
okay. So secondly, you need to prepare for the presentation beforehand. What do I mean by that? So before you give the presentation, you need to go over the slides once, so that you can create a flow in your mind for the presentation itself. Okay. So you need to do that, because that will get you into a better flow and you can hook the presentators. Okay. Uh, Thirdly, you need to summarize the information. So whatever information that you're giving out, whatever the information is there in the project itself, try to summarize those information into key points or key lines. So there are one-liners or there are one word. So that one word will explain the whole line, and you can tell me about that word. So that key point is for you, and you explain to me what is there in the presentation itself. Uh, Lastly, I would say there should be a demo for the Google crawler SMTP login. There was no demonstration for the same.
Actually, I don't know, sir. That's why this is for my first presentation.
Okay. There needs to be a demonstration of so in the task itself, were you provided with the links of YouTube videos?
Yes, sir. But I want to ask one question, sir.
Yes, yes.
You're alerting us you're alerting us a task, no, sir?
Yes.
For which task we have to present the demo? How should we?
So for every task, firstly you need to present a demonstration. So how will a demonstration look like? It will be your codes that you have coded, and there'll be a data set given for the demonstration. So right now you have a SMTP login, so you can show me by logging in through your SMTP that if you send a message, it is going to your account. Okay, and the Google crawler is nothing but it is, you can show me codes for these are the certain sites that I've used, like Reddit and different sites. And from those, if I search something, like it's like a Google search box wherein I search something, then every query related to that search box will come up from these sites. So that is a Google crawler. Okay. So you need to give me a demonstration of that from next time. So every task that you do, because without the demonstration there's going to be very difficult, going to be very difficult for you to progress in this internship, because demonstration needs to be there. How will I know that you have performed the task or not? The presentation part is just there to know whether you have performed the task well or not, or have you understood about the task or not. Needs to be a short story included about the relevance of the project, and at the end of the slide you should give your, so in the start itself you have given your email ID, try to give it at the end also in the thank you slide, where you given your email ID so that people can contact you. Okay.
So
Regarding the,
we need to upload this presentation, sir.
no, you don't need to upload the presentation. It has been recorded itself. It will be uploaded on the YouTube channel of Hackveda Limited. Okay, wherein you can go and see the presentation for yourself. Okay, so that you can improve upon it. At the same time, you'll receive certain marked out categories, like you'll receive scores, and below those scores you'll get a review. So if that review will be for that presentation itself. So if you improve upon that review, then your presentations will be better and you can score better. Okay, you'll be advancing in your internship. So these are small things that need to be improved upon. It will be in your review as well. Okay, you read this out, try to improve yourself, come for the next presentation then.
When we get the review, sir?
It will be by tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Within 48 hours you'll get the review and the scores. Okay. Okay, then thank you so much for the presentation.